Hey guys, welcome to the Casey Catch Up. Super stoked to be able to chat to Jules Chollet from France, uh, who foiled 200 kilometers in 9 hours, which completely smoked my speed for when I did the record. But I think we're going for different things. He was just seeing how far I could go, and I was trying to set an official sort of Guinness record, which was 12 hour, the furthest distance on a hydrofoil paddleboard in 12 hours. But Jules just sent it. He did had epic conditions. He wasn't quite ready, he said. Hadn't quite done enough paddling stuff, but he just wanted to see how far he could go. And did like 160 Ks unassisted. And then towards the end, he needed to get towed up by his mate on a jet ski because it was just too messy, and he was buggered. So it was a really cool chat with Jules, and man, the guy charges. He just come in fishing. He got this massive tuna just as we sort of sat down and chat. Um, he's foiled massive waves in Belharra, clocking like 70k an hour speeds. And yeah, and then obviously just sent 200 Ks as you do, with his mate on the jet ski. And I think his mate is probably the real hero of this. 200 kilometers support. They had fuel on the ski, and the conditions were like 45 knots northwest winds, in the Mediterranean. It looks like crazy conditions. So it was cool to sort of break it down and understand why, what, if you do it again, and just to meet a guy like that, to chat to him about was pretty cool. Yeah, it sort of sounds like he's pretty. He works with F1 foils, so we're doing some great foils, and it sounds like they got some boards coming out too, which obviously work pretty good. So yeah, it was a fun chat, and yeah, thanks Jules for sharing, and looking forward to getting over to the French Mediterranean at some point, because it looks like that the conditions look insane. So thanks for the time, and everyone listening, enjoy. All right, welcome to the Casey Catch Up. We've got Jules Chollet. I'm gonna probably pronounce your name wrong, and I apologize for that. But Jules, I've seen some of your photos and videos of you surfing or foil surfing some really big waves, and then just recently you did a 200 plus kilometer downwind foil. I'm calling it like enduro downwind foil. So I was like, man, I got to get this guy on my podcast. So thanks for I don't know anything else about you though. So thanks for jumping on, and I'm hoping to get to know you a bit better during this chat.
Okay, perfect. Let's go.
Yeah. So tell us about yourself. What's your background? How old are you? Where do you live? Um,
Um, I live in the south of France. Basically, I began going into the water with kite surfing because my dad was doing it, and I did about I think 5 years. And after the wind came and the foil also, I just learned foiling with my kite. I was about, I think, 14 years old. The first session was a nightmare. I didn't fall anyway, but
yeah.
after I managed to get in, and we started with racing foils like 500. So it was hard to learn it with the kite also, but now we can do everything we want. So it was a good deal.
Yeah. So how long ago did you learn to kite foil?
I think it spent about 3 sessions to be able to go front side and back side and coming back from where I came. But yes, it was about 3 sessions, I think.
Yeah, nice. And what year? So how long have you been foiling for?
What? Can you repeat, please?
What year? So like how long have you been foiling for?
I think I began to practice wing foil when the first F1 swing appeared. So I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago now.
Yeah,
And yes, I think I'm foiling since 5 years and 3 or 4 years with the wing and
nice.
surfboard also.
Yeah, cool. Well, let's quickly talk about the big foil waves you've surfed. Belharra, that looked like a
Yes,
pretty
yes.
crazy session. I just saw you basically got it to yourself, and
Ye-
Yeah, maybe just talk us through that one.
Yes, yes. Okay, so I'm studying engineering, and my school is in Biarritz in Basque Country. So I'm part-time in Biarritz and part-time at F1 because I work with F1. And when I'm in Biarritz, we often have great swells, and I began to go in big waves with the ski. And I was waiting for a long time for Belharra to work. And when it came, we got with one hand and the camera, and we were really lucky because there's so much people on the water. So I caught a lot of waves, and it was a really good session. But doesn't last a long time because it only happens when the tide is really low. So we had about 1 hour, 1 hour and half, and after the wave completely disappeared. So
Yeah.
it was a great call.
Yeah, well done. And I saw in your post you said you were clocking speeds of like 70 k's per hour.
Yes, we are on the 500 foils, and we are full speed, and we just managed to don't fall because it's a straight line going to the bottom, and it's not that hard, but you have to be really focused to not fall because when you fall, water is like really hard, and it can be painful really.
Yeah, no
But
doubt. Yeah.
I just fall at my last wave and all my back cracked, but it was the last, so there wasn't no problem.
Yeah. Good timing. Lucky it wasn't the first.
Yeah, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Well, let's turn our focus to the downwind foiling. Um, and just recently you've foiled 200 k's, but I'm very interested in that, and I think a lot of people are too. But I also want to know about how you learnt to downwind foil. A friend of mine messaged and said you've only been sort of sup foiling for a very short time, but maybe you can explain to us how you learnt to downwind foil.
Yes, okay. I didn't knew anything about downwinding, because I was just foiling on waves and with my wing and with my kite. And I have a friend, Matt, who is in Australia right now.
Mhm.
Uh, he did a lot of SUP racing, and so he knew how to downwind, and he told me let's try this because with the fall it could be really amazing. And at the beginning, I didn't manage to downwind. I was just looking for the bumps, but like on classic swell, and it didn't work. So it took a long time to really know how to downwind without any effort and without pumping every time. And yes, I learned with the boat, with the kite school boat, and we did like little runs. And then I managed to get a soup, and we started to try to go with the soup. But I think it's the most difficult sport I do because it's really long to learn it.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm glad to hear that because it sounds like everything else you picked up pretty quick. Um, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you kind of learnt, so getting towed into the waves, so you learnt once you're up, it was pretty easy to, you learn how to like maneuver and like make sure you're riding the downhill of the bumps. And then the hardest part for
Yes,
you was learning to actually get started without a boat.
yes, 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 that's it. We had to learn with the boat because if you don't know how to fly really well, you can spend a lot of energy flying and a lot of energy trying to take off. You have to know how to fly before trying to take off with the SUP.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. It's kind of chicken or the egg, isn't it? Because if you are getting up but you don't know where to go, it just is really frustrating. But by
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
up and knowing where to go, it makes you all. I guess you learn it fairly quickly.
yeah.
More enjoyable too, no doubt.
Yeah, of course. And now with the high aspect foils and things like this, downwind become more and more accessible, because before 1 or 2 years ago. It was really hard, and we needed some specific condition with great bumps. And now we managed to coach more mellow swells, and we can go in more condition than before.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's a couple things. I think it's popularity, but also, as you said, equipment makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
There's a few
And
people that I know that
and
sort of started downwind foiling at the beginning, like sort of like 5 or 6 years ago, and
yeah,
yeah, it was hard. It was hard to learn, and it's much more enjoyable now. But it was still good back then compared to just standard stand up paddle downwind. Um,
yeah.
what equipment did you learn on? So like behind the boat, were you using a fast foil or a slow foil?
When we began downwinding, what foil did that? I think I had F1 Gravity 140,
Yeah,
and it the foil I learned with to surf foil also, and I managed to kite foil with it. It was a bit big, but I had just one foil to do everything. And yes, we tried for the first time on Gravity 140.
yeah. And were you winging downwind as well before you were towing?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, of course. When the wing appeared, we thought that it was a great way to downwind, but with safety, because you can take off if there is some wind, you can take off. And yes, the first downwind I did, the downwind without the boat, was with the wing, and I followed my friend who was already on the SUP, him. But yes, me, I tried for the first time with the wing, because it's safer.
yeah. And how do you find winging downwind now compared to like the SUP?
The difference between with the wing and the SUP, I think it's more pure with the SUP, of course, and also you go faster with the SUP because you really can downwing, and with the wing you might do a bit of crosswind because the wing doesn't free fly downwinding. So yes, the with the SUP it's more pure, obviously, but with the wing it's a really great way to learn. And I think most of people will try downwing for the first time with the wing. And now we saw people going upwind with the wing and with the paddle in their back. And when they did like 10 kilometers upwind, they deflate the wind and they try to take off with the SUP, and they come back with the wing in the back and the paddle on the end.
Yeah, that's so good. That's I've been pushing people to do that for a long time. It's yeah, it's the shuttleless downwinder, and that was going to be my next question. One of the things I always ask people on this podcast is, have you ever thought about deflating the wing and doing
Yeah,
like an upwind and then deflate downwind? It's have you done that before?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And yes, because when we don't have the boat, we can try and practice takeoff paddling by doing this thing, and it works really well.
yeah,
And you don't have to have a car logistic to leave one car upwind to go downwind with another car. It's easier. You can upwind with the wing and just downwind with the wing on your back.
yeah, yeah. It's so good. I guess the hardest thing for people listening is probably paddling up with the wet wing, on your back. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got to be pretty confident that you can paddle back up. So it's kind of a bit more of an advanced skill, but yeah, I'm stoked you brought it up. This is probably the first time someone else has brought it up on this podcast rather than me bringing it up on the podcast. So that's good. That means it's catching on. So more people are doing it. Yeah. I really want to talk about your 200K downwinder. So when did you start planning for this, like really long downwinder? And tell us about the
So
conditions.
so the downwind we often do were about 10 to 20 kilometers, not more, because more it's more logistic, it's more long, and it's longer. And if you don't have really good condition, you can be stuck on the middle. And I think 2 weeks ago we did with the F1 crew a downwind, 50 kilometers downwind, and it was really great, and the wind was not so strong, and we managed to do it with effort, but without issue. It was okay, and we did it. So I thought I can do more, but it was not the plan for right now, and I had it in my head, but I wasn't focused on it. And 1 or 2 days before I last Saturday, I saw that condition will be really, really good, and we decided to go with my friend Loic, which is here.
Yeah.
and and yes, we took my towing jet ski, and I told my father, please, can you go with the car at the end of the downwind, and we took more fuel to put in the ski, because with just one tank it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
So we took about 30 liter more, and it was just enough. We didn't have more.
Yeah.
And yes, we started at 9 a.m. The time to go to put the ski in the water and to go in the takeoff zone. And yes, after I don't win it all the day, and we arrived not at the first destination I was thinking about. It was 20 kilometer more, but we didn't manage to do it because we didn't had enough fuel in the ski, and the wind was too much side off at the end, so I had to stop at the beach before. But it was already a really good downwind, so I was
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah. It looked epic. I'm just bringing up a map, so I'm going to share my screen, and I'm pretty sure this is the area that
Yeah,
you
of course.
downwinded around. Can you let us know
Yeah.
where you started and where you finished?
Yes, you can zoom it next to Montpellier.
Yeah.
So now you can see a lake on your left.
Yeah.
You see it, the lake on your left, and you can zoom here.
Over here.
Wait, yes, of course, Frontignan is
Yeah.
where I started.
Yeah.
Yes, it's there.
Yeah. Cool. I'm going to measure. I'm curious to see the run line. So
Yeah,
started here.
and then you can go on your right.
Oh, this way.
Yeah, yeah, right way.
Yeah, this way. Yeah.
Yes, yes, of course, exactly.
Starting again. Measure distance. So from here to this direction.
Yes, yes. And you can follow the costs.
I don't know why it's measuring
May-
weird.
Maybe you can the first point and the last point, and after precise the curve. I think
Yeah.
it's easier.
Yeah. So where did you finish?
I finished in Sifour. It's far away on your right. There is Marseille. It's the half of the downwind,
Yeah.
and you can go on your right, and just next to Toulon. Do you see Toulon
Yes.
here? You can zoom,
Yeah.
and I finished in Sifour, on the
Oh, I see
left
it
of
here.
Toulon.
Yeah,
Yes.
just here. Yeah. So it's straight line. It's like 180 k's, but
Yes, but
It's never
it
it's
was
never straight. You always zig and zag.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I did much distance at the beginning of the downwind because bumps were not so fast and I could do a lot of turns, you know,
yeah,
and the end was really straight. But at the beginning, I did more distance that I thought I will do
yeah. So more
because
zigzagging at the start.
I was doing a lot of turns. Yeah, yes, of course.
Yeah, and then as it gets better, you kind of get straighter, and then
Yes.
yeah,
Because
gotcha.
after the swell is going bigger and bigger, and you can just go down, going down, and not do a lot of turns because there was also like 45 knots, so
Wow.
it wasn't so hard at the end because the wind was pushing me really really hard,
Yeah,
but the big wasn't that much easy because the wind and the bumps were not straight, and I had always to pump.
yeah. And what direction was the wind? I assume it's like at least this direction, like same direction you were
Yeah,
going. Yeah.
it's a more side of than this.
Okay, so more like kind of like this.
Yes, exactly. I always had to go backside and doing crosswind, but it was okay. It was fine.
So you're always kind of having to work back into shore. So which was the problem
Yes,
at
of
the
course.
end. Yeah, getting in. Cool. Now, very. I love understanding other people's like downwind runs. You know the location and the conditions. Um,
Yeah, it's a good example.
yeah. And this is a pretty normal wind, like normal wind direction.
What?
This is a normal wind direction.
Yes, of course, we had like northwest wind and south wind. Here are the two main directions we can have. So yes, we often have this wind, but it's really rare to have it from where I started to where I finished. Sometimes it switch off at the middle of the run. So I saw that it will be really good. So I didn't waited longer, and we decided to go, even if
Awesome.
we were not really ready to do it. I knew that the most important part will be the condition and not me, not myself, because if you have good condition, you can go what you can ride longer than if you have some like gusty wind or light wind.
Yeah. No, for sure. And it's having the wind for the whole time too, which is obviously the hardest part. Um, so well done. It's huge. I know what. Well, I kind of know what you did. I think you had a bit better conditions than what I had. But when I did my 200 plus kilometer foil, I spoke to you on Instagram when I saw it, and I said, "How far did you get?" Because you said 200 plus kilometers, and maybe just talk us through like the difference between the first half and the middle and the last half, because over that sort of distance, it changes a lot.
Yeah, I had a lot of different conditions. At the first like 30 minutes were a bit intense because bump were really small, wind was side off, but I knew that I will have stronger wind and bigger bumps, so I didn't worry about it. And next the next 2 hours, I think, were the best, the most playful part of the downwind because bumps were not so big and it was like a skate park. I did a lot of turn. It was really good. And when I came at like 70 kilometers, the wind died a bit and the swell became to be bigger and bigger, but without wind, it wasn't it there wasn't enough energy, you know, to ride it. So I had to pump and always going back on the bump on the other bump behind me.
Yeah.
So I had like 30 minutes really intense. And I knew that if the wind didn't came up more, I wouldn't finish the downwind in this condition. But 30 minutes after, the wind come back really strong, and after this it was like a storm. It was like 3 meter bumps, and wind was, yes, 45. I think we had like 50 knot, 55 knot, but it was really easy because stronger is the wind, is easier is it, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
So the second part of the downwind, the last 100 kilometers were easier, really easier for me because I was close to the shore, so the landscape was moving really fast, and it was easy. And when I saw the the end of the downwind, I was like, okay, you have to go there, and it was way easier than being in deep water and going nowhere, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Huge effort, mate. It's I knew there'd be some sort of story, and like because the conditions never are perfect for the whole run. You know, it's always the wind will never be consistent. You know, and when you cover that distance, it's hard. Um, so we spoke on Instagram chat, and I asked, well, what distance did you get? Because 200 plus kilometers is massive. But you said that your watch died, and you had to turn your phone Strava on. So what was the final distance?
Yeah, of course. It was like 204 or 5 kilometers. It was more than 200, but we don't exactly know how much was it. But yes, at the middle of the run, my watch died, so we put on Strava on the phone. But it wasn't easy on the ski because it was like 40 knots, water everywhere, and yes, it was. I think it was maybe harder for my pilot than me because on the ski it was really the shower every
Yeah,
time because of the wind, and on the foil you don't have like hard parts hurting the water, so it doesn't make any foam or things like this. But on the ski you take water every time in your head. It's it's a nightmare.
yeah. The real hero is next to you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That's a seriously good friend. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, huge effort, mate, and to get. So I think the reason I was obviously interested in the exact distance is because I was worried that you'd beat my record. 200. I think I've done 213 kilometers, and I had similar problems with my watch. Um,
Okay.
the my Garmin stopped recording, and like it did like a glitch, and so we sort of went a kilometer out and a kilometer in. But I had another
Okay.
watch on, a polar watch, and I was annoyed because my Garmin was measuring like at the end it measured about 220 something, whereas my polar watch only measured like 213. So it's always strange, how the GPS watches work. But it's the
I,
best
I
we have.
think I think we can find some better ways to record, but I wasn't looking for uh uh I didn't worried about it, and my goal was just to go to go for the longest downwind I could, but I
Yeah,
wasn't like I want to know exactly precisely how much I did because I at the end I don't care. I'm just happy to have done this, and
yeah,
that's it.
for sure. I feel like you're gonna probably do it again at some stage. Like, did you enjoy it? Was it fun, or was it hard? Like, are you scarred from it?
I think it's better to do a 50 kilometers downwind. You can enjoy more because you know when you will arrive, and yes, it's better, and you can enjoy every moment. So actually I was like, um, don't do a lot of turns, don't spend a lot of energy, even if you enjoy, because there is a long way to go, and you have to focus on your body, and don't spend a lot of energy. But maybe I will do it again not by the same way, just with two people and jet ski, but maybe if we have a great team and a big boat to film or doing things like this, I will go again for sure, because it wasn't a nightmare. It wasn't so hard. So yes, I will go again.
Yeah, nice. Good to hear. And like, yeah, I think like what you just said, the doing it with the jet ski, I did the first time I sort of tested if like distance, I did it with a jet ski and I did like 120 kilometers. And the
Yeah,
jet ski, it was so hard for the jet ski, like you said, like it's the fuel, the conditions are wild. You know, you're going like up and down, and there's water everywhere.
yeah,
Whereas on the foil, it's like it's the best craft in those conditions.
yeah,
But for the jet ski, it's
Mm.
really hard.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah, and so yeah, the big boat, I think. Actually, that's my next question. What did you do for food and water?
I had 1 liter Camelback. I don't know if I can say it in English. Water in a pocket in the back. I had 1 liter, and we refueled the 1 liter about 4 times, I think. So I drank about 4 liters of water and a little bit of, I don't know how to say it, but energy inside the water in order to prevent some injuries.
Yeah,
And I bought like cereals bar and energy bars, things like this.
yeah,
Uh, but I didn't eat a lot during these 9 hours. Um, yes, I think I ate like 7 or 8 bars, but not more.
yeah,
I drank a lot, but I didn't eat a lot. I wasn't hungry
yeah,
at all.
yeah, yeah. Nice. And did you like where was the sorest part of your body? Like when the conditions were not so good. Like where did you find it was? Um,
I had
did,
I had to take off the top of my wetsuit because I was too hot.
mhm,
I had to a hat also because I had the sun in my eyes, and at one yes, sometimes my head was like turning and I didn't feel really well. So when I put the hat and removed the top of my wetsuit, it was really better. So that's the only thing I had. And one time also I had a cramp. I can say it.
mhm, yeah, cramp.
Like
Yeah,
yes, yes. And I stopped immediately and I drank a lot, and I think I lay about 3 or 4 minutes waiting, and after when I came back on the water, it was okay, and
yeah,
I didn't had it anymore, but also because the wind also picked up and it was easy to go.
yeah. So where was the cramp?
Uh, I don't know how to say it. At the leg, the big muscle of the leg,
Yeah,
the
okay, it's
front
like
muscle.
the quad. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, makes sense. Yeah, that's the pumping muscle. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got really sore calves. My
Yeah.
quads, but then my calves hurt as well, just from the little movements, like when you're turning, I guess. But yeah, quads as well. I understand that for sure. Um, oh, wait, what equipment? So what board, what foil, mast,
Uh,
fuse, all that sort of stuff.
for the foil, I had 990 Eagle from
Yeah,
F1.
yeah,
It's the only foil I use when I'm doing downwind. Even on light downwind and strong downwind, I'm used to this foil, so I don't want to change because I know it really well.
hmm,
Uh, I was using a 85 centimeters mast,
hmm,
carbon mast, and the board. Now we have some prototypes at F1. It's a 6.0.
yeah.
Uh, I think it was about 78 liters, things
Yeah.
like this.
Okay,
78
so
liters.
pretty small.
Yes, it's small, but I'm not that tall. I'm like 67 kilo,
Okay, yeah,
so it's okay for me. It's
yeah,
okay. In short bumps, it's okay. But at the end, I when I stopped at the end, I wasn't able to stand on my board because it was like 45 knots and it was really hard to paddle. So I was really not tired, but I didn't want to spend energy trying to stand on my board and take off. So I used the ski to take off for the 3 or 4 last times.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nice. That's the beauty of having the jet ski there, right? You know, it makes it if you get in trouble, you know. Would you change any equipment? So after doing that, like in hindsight, would you?
I don't think so. We talked with the F1 team, and I told them that I was really happy with the foil. I thought I will be it will be harder than this in the really big bumps. Done without any issue, and I was really surprised. And I think the difference between going like towing in real wave with a small board like a 4-2 and with a paddle is that with the paddle you have more comfort because the board is bigger and there is more inertia, you know. And so I was really happy about my fall. Maybe if I will have fall with more glide, it will be better. But I don't think with the foil I have for the moment, it was the good choice. I did the good choice. The day before I was like, maybe I can take the 850 skates, the new F1 foil.
Yeah,
But I was happy to don't took it to don't have to take it because on the lightest part of the downwind it will have been really hard.
yeah, yeah. And that's the trade-off, isn't it? Because especially for the long runs, you need a foil that works when the conditions are really bad, and then a foil that's comfortable when the conditions are really good. So
Yeah, of course.
yeah, like the range of the foil. So it sounds like I haven't managed to try the Eagle yet, but I've heard really good reports. So you know, and it sounds like it worked really well for you.
Yeah. It's maybe we need foil with aspect ratio higher, like 10, maybe 9.5 or 10. But for the moment, it's okay, and I think we don't have better equipment in the range to do downwind. It's a really great fall that works in a lot of conditions.
Yeah. Um, on the board, I just saw a video. Jack Ho using an F1 prototype board.
Yeah.
Actually, how wide was the board? So 6 foot, 78 liters. But what was the width?
I don't remember. It's the new shapes, you know, where they go faster when you paddle. It's a little bit more complicated to stand on it, but I don't have the size in my mind right now. I can write it for you if you want, or maybe I have it, but it will be too complicated
Yeah, that's
to
fine.
find.
Maybe just write it, and I can put it back in at the end when I edit this. Yeah, that's fine. Because I think
Okay.
people will want to know because a lot of
Yeah, of
people
course.
talk about
But
like
the 6.0 is a bit small. We have like 6.7 and it works really well. There is a gap between 6.0 and 6.7. So yes, boards are coming soon, and I think it's a little revolution with what we had before. The previous shapes were much harder to take off.
yeah, it's been so cool to see and like exciting to see all these bigger brands creating these downwind foil boards because
Yeah,
18 months ago or even let's say 3 years ago, no one really cared about downwind foiling. It was more about winging and surf foiling or tow foiling. And so now they're making boards for downwind foiling, which means we'll have more people to do it with.
yeah. I think because we are wondering that downwind become more and more accessible, so more and more people will buy some stuff to try it.
Yeah, no, it's so cool. And I think you know the foils are getting better, the boards are getting
Yeah,
better. people's minds are sort of opening up to like understanding how it works and looking and then realizing that you can do it everywhere. Like it doesn't have to be in the ocean; it can be done in lakes, harbors, rivers. You just need wind and water.
Of course,
Yeah,
and in the right direction also.
yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. What else do I want to ask you about? Okay, so going back, so you learning, you learned behind a boat, and obviously that was good because once you're up, you could get going. But how was your like? How long did it take you to learn to paddle in to like to bumps?
Uh, to how long I took to manage to take off with the paddle? That's it, the question,
Yeah,
or no?
yeah, how was your learning process? Like, was
Yes,
it
yes.
hard?
During one summer, we did downwind behind the boat. At the end of the summer, when the conditions were good, we were able to downwind every time we wanted, and we didn't stop like each 5 minutes or things like this. And after I did like all the session I tried to take off with the paddle, I managed to do it. But in some session, I spent about like 30 minutes or 40 minutes to take off because wind was too light and I wasn't good enough to take off. So yes, few times I spent a lot of time trying to take off. I think when you have done like 10 downwinds, you are able to take off if you know how to paddle. It's not that hard, and also the stuff the gear is is always improving. So maybe I think now yes you need like 10 paddle session if you have a little background of paddling in waves, for example. You need like 10 session to be sure to take off if the conditions are good.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So I think you're pretty skilled because I know lots of people have taken more than 10 sessions, but maybe they're using the wrong equipment.
Yes, but before going with the paddle, you it's you have to know how to downwind
Yeah,
once you are on the foil and flying, because
yeah,
uh, you have to save your energy flying and spend it by trying to take off by paddling. But you can't spend energy trying to fly and trying to paddle.
yeah, yeah. Makes it really hard for sure. Yeah, nah, cool. And were you using the same equipment you're using now when you're learning, or were you using a bigger board? Um,
I had like a bigger board, but it was also a prototype and it wasn't that big. But if I tried with bigger board, it would have been easier for sure. And I think my stuff was a bit small when I started, but I just had this and I went with what I had.
yeah, for sure. And I think yeah, you're lighter, so like 67 kilos. I think it helps. Like it being lighter and foiling, it makes it a little bit easier. I think.
I don't I'm not sure because I think to go fast if if your weight is higher, I think you go faster with the
Oh,
same foil.
agreed. Yeah, for sure. But in terms of like learning and just getting up onto foil, it's
After-
lighter, easier, nicer. Not taking anything away from you. You sound like you've put in the hard yards for sure. Um, have you done any races on the SUP foil?
No, never. I've never done. My friend done like 3 or 4, but I wasn't enough skilled to take off. So I didn't want it to go for a race because if I didn't took off, it will be a nightmare, you know.
Yeah,
So I want to be sure to be in capacity to take off, and after I will maybe plan to do some races. But now yes, I'm thinking about doing it because the gear is okay and I think I'm okay also to take off. but yes, we'll see what we have in France and maybe in Europe. So yes, I will see. I will see because in
Yeah,
France we have several races in the north of France, particularly in Brittany. But yes, we'll see. It's not my priority because I have other things to do. But it will be great, yes, to do some races.
yeah. So we won't see you in Hawaii in July.
What?
We won't see you in Hawaii in July. Not.
You are going? Yes.
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, yeah. I was. Yeah. Molokai Tuahu's back on for the first time in like 4 years. So yeah, I'm excited for it. And I'm sure there's some French foilers coming. But yeah, it sounds like what are your other priorities? What are your main goals?
Actually, I'm finishing my engineering school,
Yeah.
so I work with the F1 R&D team. So yes, I'm always at the office, also on the spot because we are testing a lot of prototypes and things like this. And I can if I want, I can take the time to go to some races, but for now it's not the priority. So I just try to enjoy where I live and sometimes travel a bit, but I'm fine like this. So
Yeah.
so
That's kind of the cool thing about foiling. You don't really need to travel far to get good conditions and
yeah,
have fun. You know, like it's
yeah,
I've been very content the last like 4 years at home just foiling. It's been it makes travel seem less important. So yeah, I totally understand where you're at, and then hopefully I'm looking at maybe coming over to Europe in maybe October, if not, it'll be next year in sort of August. So look, if I do manage to get over there, I'd love to be able to get a downwind foil in with you in your local spot.
yes, you can write me, and we managed to have a good downwind,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course.
But to show me the conditions, because it looks like you nailed it. Yeah. Okay, what do you want to leave people with? So, like, do you have any tips or advice for people on downwind foiling that you want to finish? We can finish up with.
I think they don't have to put a small foil for the beginning, even if we always want to go faster and doing things like this. Uh, to begin, yes, we have to take a big foil and to be with friend who knows how to downwind because it's way much easier when you have good tips and on the moment, you know, on live if they can tell you, okay, you might do this instead of this. These are really good advices, and I think it's really hard to learn alone and going on the bay and paddling and trying to take off because it's like it's not dangerous because but you yes you can feel alone really fast and you have to do first with a background of security and not going anywhere with side of wind and hope to come back to the shore.
Yeah. Good advice. No, really good advice. No, thanks so much for coming on, Jules. Nice to meet you, and thanks for sharing all your knowledge and I guess the adventures that you've been on the last, little bit. So, yeah, much appreciated.
Thank you. It was a pleasure also for me to tell you more about where we live and what we do.
Yeah, and also congrats on the big tuna. I know you've just come in from fishing, and he got a really big fish.
We have some fish also in France, and they are not all in Australia, but I know there are more in Australia than here.
Yeah, yeah. I'll have to share the video you sent me with everyone because it was it's a big fish. Yeah.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you
Thanks,
really much.
Jules. I'll catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.